Hey everybody, welcome back to another GME video. To start this video, we'll just look back at last week's video and see how we did. So as it crosses above, we would expect another sharp increase in price for GME, maybe a move to the 30s or so before further consolidation. The daily trigger crossing above the monthly trigger is definitely bullish, and we can more than likely expect a nice upside move as that happens. Now, it might take another couple of days for it to really get above the monthly trigger. Right now, it's kind of at the monthly trigger, but again, it would be very normal to see another huge candle like this. Now, this candle was actually 45% move, and it peaked at a 69% move. So that would look like this in current day and age prices. So let's do 45%. 45% move would take it to about 33, and 69% just about 39. So reasonably, we can expect once the daily trigger crosses the monthly trigger to have some kind of move like this. Definitely wouldn't be out of the ordinary at all. And should GME be able to get this type of move, it will bring the weekly trigger up above the monthly trigger much faster than GME just consolidating sideways for the next 2 months. All right, that's enough of that guy. Okay, so coming into this week, we had expectations of a strong bullish upside move with a bullish daily trigger monthly trigger crossover. And sure enough, just as soon as GME got the bullish daily trigger monthly trigger crossover, we had a big upside move. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting with 69%, but of course, the point wasn't to get a 69% move higher. The point was to get a strong increase in price once the daily trigger crossed above the monthly trigger. Currently, GME is at stage 2 out of 3 of forming a base for a meltup. Number 1, got price above the monthly trigger, always the most important. Number 2, daily trigger, monthly trigger, bullish crossover, and with the price action this past week, we have every reason to confirm that, everything's going as expected. This is exactly what we would have wanted to see after a bullish daily trigger, monthly trigger crossover. And this latest push down just seems like a basic retest of the daily trigger. Not much to be worried about. Of course, you can see that once price got near the daily trigger strength, which is this shaded region, that's where it caught support. I did tweet on Friday, ready for reversal, right as price got in here, but it wasn't strong. Buyers weren't strong enough to cause a reversal, but they were strong enough to catch support right in the daily strength, just like it did over here as well. Now, moving forward, GME is now set to complete the final stage of the meltup, which is getting the weekly trigger currently at 1683, above or close to the monthly trigger at 2183 at 2113. Last week it moved just about 70 cents to the upside, so figure about 7-8 more weeks of that, and the weekly trigger will cross above the monthly trigger. Now, of course, it does not have to cross above the monthly trigger to start a meltup. Just has to get close to it to completely confirm the breakout above the monthly trigger, like we see here with AMC back in January 2021, in May 2021, where the weekly trigger got close to the monthly trigger, and as soon as it got, within 1 or 2 weeks of crossing, that's when a strong, powerful explosion happened. Now, I'm sure a lot of you came in here looking for the dates. Now, of course, I didn't actually have an exact date where I expect the meltup to begin, but I do have a pretty general outlook on when I would expect such a type of meltup. So if you look at the structure, not comparing fractals or anything like that, I kind of feel like that doesn't do anything, but meltups are meltups, and all meltups have the same patterns at the end of the day. It starts with price making a strong push through the monthly trigger, and then it continues with the daily trigger crossing above the monthly trigger, halfway confirming the breakout, and then it ends with the weekly trigger getting really close or crossing above the monthly trigger, like we actually saw in GME in December of 2020, where you got price breaking above the monthly trigger, and then the daily trigger crossing above the monthly trigger, and then finally the weekly trigger crossing above the monthly trigger, and we can all see what happens next. So what I do like about this latest meltup setup is that things seem to be progressing much faster than they have in the past. So for example, if you take a look at this with AMC, from the first explosion above the monthly trigger till the daily trigger crossed above the monthly trigger was 32 or 33 bars for 48 days. And when we go back to GME, in very recent times, you'll see that obviously things are not moving the same speed. If anything, things are going faster, which means that by the same virtue, we can expect our melt up to start faster. So half the time, 21 days, 14 bars, 14 trading days, 21 actual days. And so, if you just stretch it out a drop longer, you do get a general idea of when we can very possibly expect a major market melt up in GME. And I am of the belief that we will get a very similar type move to here, although my suspicion is that it might be double or triple as strong as this melt up was, just due to the short interest of AMC here at the time and the current short interest of GME at the time, along with, of course, the 5 billion or so capital that GME would likely have at the end of the week if it did indeed sell shares. And even if not, a 2 billion war chest isn't something to laugh about either. So, you take 33 or whatever it was, however many days here, 48 days, and once you had the daily trigger cross above the monthly trigger, it took about another 72 days to start to complete the melt up, or if you want to bring it here, because this is really when the melt up started on this candle. So 58 days, 41 bars, and then you would just go back to GME and do something pretty similar, and that would put us around the time span of within a month left to a melt up, which is of course very exciting for longer term GME shareholders. I'm sure many of you feel the same way, where you're pretty ready and excited for something like this to happen, and I do believe it is right around the corner. And so the purpose of this video is to state that within about a month, I expect a major market melt up for GameStop, going well into the hundreds. My guess is 200 to start, a 10x, and again, I'll be posting public videos by the week. So we'll just continue to track things as they progress. What I will say is that over this next month, things can happen quicker, things can happen a little bit delayed. This doesn't have to work on the exact date to prove anything. All we're really looking for, or all I'm really looking for to be confident in a major market melt up is price to continue to hang out above the monthly trigger. And the longer price spends above the monthly trigger, the higher the odds become for a major market melt up. So I love the way the weekly trigger is fast approaching the monthly trigger. If GME can just hold above this 21 level for just a little bit longer, which I don't doubt that it will, then everything looks set for whether it starts late July, whether it starts beginning of July, whether it even starts this week or whether it starts the next week. The only thing that I'd like to continue to see for GameStop is price holding above the monthly trigger. I do have reasonable suspicion to believe that buyers will step in strong at this daily trigger level. I don't believe there will be another daily close below here. Could be wrong, but seems really strong. And this is an area where I would expect dip buying algos to come in and support price for another push higher. Now, just to wrap up the video with a little bit of theory, game theory if you call it, I'm of the belief of a few things, and I'm just going to spit them out, and whether you agree with me or not, that's okay. If you don't agree with me, I'd love to hear your theories or whatever in the comments. My theory is that Roaring Kitty would not have ever posted a single tweet if the entire stage already wasn't set for a melt up. My second theory is that I think GameStop has a time frame and a plan for how they want to do this, and they don't want to set anything off too early. So with any squeeze higher that isn't exactly ready to be squeezed, they would just sell cash into it and wait until they're ready. So they're not following anyone else's schedule, they're following their own schedule. And my final, I guess what you could call tinfoil kind of tweet, or tinfoil kind of whatever, is in one of Roaring Kitty's tweets, he posted 2 circles and 2 like GameStop logos, and then a much bigger GameStop logo. And I think what one can interpret it as is 2 pumps, 1, 2, and then a squeeze. So looking forward to see how the next month develops. All I would like to see is GameStop just remain above these levels, and then as long as GameStop can stay above the monthly trigger for maybe another month or two, I believe we'll see a 10x to the upside, well into the hundreds, and a very strong and powerful melt up. Because this is a melt up setup and it's nearing its completion stage. It already has stage 1, price breaking above the monthly trigger, and stage 2, the daily trigger crossing above the monthly trigger, complete. And it is nearing the third and final step of completion, where the weekly trigger gets really close to or crosses above the monthly trigger, and that will ignite a major market meltdown for GameStop. Nothing in this post, or nothing that I ever post on Twitter, nothing that I ever post on YouTube, is financial advice. Any decisions that you make off this video is your decisions and your decisions alone. Everything that I post is strictly for entertainment purposes. If you did like this video, if you found it helpful, feel free to leave a like or subscribe to the channel so you get notified for future videos. Otherwise, have a great week, everyone, and see you next Sunday.